Okay, I'm back. Lesson 3, Part 3. Lesson 3, Part 3, Lesson 3, Part 3. Rec 250. We're on page 4. Page 4 in the note packet. Page 4 in the note packet. Alright, and we're looking at number 3. Number 3. The learning activity is real and meaningful in terms of natural consequences for the learner. Real and meaningful. Most people are not interested in doing something that is not relevant. That's not real or meaningful. Okay, in terms of when we're looking at personal growth, people do a lot of unmeaningful things in life. That's obvious. But when they are in a program, in a leadership-based program, somebody's facilitating, you might be facilitating them, and there must have some sort of benefit. I'll give you an example. So say a corporation comes out and decides to play paintball. Okay, so a small corporate group comes out, they play some paintball, and you think the corporate group has to think to themselves, well, how is paintball going to affect our bottom line? How is paintball going to help us work together as a team? How is paintball going to make us more effective communicators? They must believe and see that there are real and meaningful terms for them, that these activities are not just a waste of time. And so, yeah, paintball can do that if it's run by a good interpersonal facilitator. If not, then it's just paintball. You just shooting people and mostly other things, because most people's aim are pretty bad, and that's what happens. But facilitated by a good interpersonal facilitator means that they'll take away good, valuable tools for their team and for developing their team in association with what they do for their business. Real and meaningful. Number 4. And beating this one up, reflection is a critical element in the learning process. No reflection, no discussion, no debriefing, nothing happens. You must, as a facilitator, get them to look at what they're doing and what they're saying and how they're interacting as a group. If not, not effective. Then you're just horsing around and doing stuff. If that facilitator does not sit down with that group and say, okay, paintball, here's what we're doing in paintball, here's a discussion, here's a reflection on some of the activities we've done using the paintball and paintball guns and everything. How are you taking this back to the workplace? How are these skills? How are you changing? How is today important? And if that doesn't happen, then all they'll remember is we played paintball. Now, right now, they remember they played paintball, and they have pictures, and that's cool, and that's fun, but every time they look at paintball, they're going to remember, yeah, that was the day that we set up this excellent strategy about communicating under stress. There you go. That's the benefit. As a facilitator, that's what you did. For example, that's what you were providing, was that reflection process, where they had come away with something tangible, and now their business is better, their team is better, and they are better leaders because of it. Not because of paintball. Not because of paintball. They can play paintball for hours and nothing's going to change. But what's going to change, is them you as a facilitator, is what changed or provided the opportunity, the good atmosphere, the environment, and the debriefing and discussion sessions, so that they now have a change with their workplace and with their team. It was their interaction with you, not the paintball, but with you, that made it happen. And number 5, learner must have present as well as future relevance to the learner and the society in which you're, and we've kind of already talked about that. Okay, activity's got to be relevant. They got to be able to take it back to the workplace, take it back to wherever they need to go, so that they can be successful with it. And you're looking lastly at the bottom of page 4. It is important to note that experiential education is not a product of learning, but a learning process. It should be implemented under the appropriate circumstances. It's a process. A facilitator provides, stimulates, creates process, so that groups can process what's happening, what's going on, based on what they were experiencing through the interaction with the leader first and then the activities. With the leader first and then the activities. So it's a learning process. It's not just I take a test, I've got it, I learned it, it's done. It's a process, an ongoing process, an ongoing development of the leaders within the group being impacted by the facilitator or the multiple facilitators. Okay? Here's what you need to do for the next lesson, starting the second week of class. I need you to read the entire chapter of Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Individual Behavior and Motivation. Chapter 4, Individual Behavior and Motivation. Please look at especially the flow state. Okay, that's very important. The stages of adventure. Okay. Page 51. There's some good information there. It talks about risk and competence graph, which is also located in your note packet. So we'll be going over that. But please read Chapter 4, Individual Behavior and Motivation. Individual Behavior and Motivation. Because you got to figure out, because we just talked about it. If they don't have a motivation in your programs, they're not going to be affected by your facilitation skills. They must have motivation. So let's look at Chapter 4, read that, and then we'll be discussing that next week. Hope you have a good weekend. Discussion boards will be set up this week, as well as some information about the ropes course, etc., etc. Send me an email if you have questions.